What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be giving an update on Senseonics, ticker symbol SENS. They recently reported their earnings, so we're going to go over that. And we're also going to go over some of the institutional ownership. George Soros owns over 4% of this company, and we're going to give some predictions on where I could see Senseonics going in the near future for the short term and by the end of 2021 and beyond. So before we get into all of that information, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So looking at the chart of Senseonics, we can see that it fell a very significant amount along with the overall market. We saw rising 10-year treasury rates and fears of inflation, and Jerome Powell's addresses did not help our cause. But we did see Senseonics bounce up a little bit after they reported their earnings, but did end up selling off throughout the day. Now, after hours on Friday, we did see Senseonics rally up about 7.26%, which in my opinion is very good news. So quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say in these videos is financial advice. These are for educational and entertainment purposes only, but this sell-off for Senseonics should be a very attractive buy if you like this company for the long term. If you know a lot about the continuous glucose monitoring market and you know about how it's expected to grow in the future, this is an unbelievable dip to buy. When we saw Senseonics cross the $5 price point, we never thought it was going to go below the $4.50 to $4 mark anytime soon. Now, we've seen this stock pull back an incredible amount, and this, in my opinion, is an unbelievable buying opportunity if you want to add to your Senseonics position or if you just want to initiate a new Senseonics position. So let's get into this big institutional ownership. So coming over here, we can see that SOROS Fund Management, spearheaded by famous investor George Soros, has a current position of about 12.257 million shares of Senseonics, and that is about 4.75% ownership. That is very big, and if we see such a controversial figure and famous investor like George Soros putting a significant amount of capital into this company and having such a high ownership percentage, that is good news to us as retail investors, since a fund like this is putting capital behind a smaller cap company in a large amount. So it shows that they, through all of the research that they have access to, find this company extremely attractive for the long term. Coming down a little bit further, we can see some of the other institutions that have positions in Senseonics. And if we sort by the amount of shares, we can see that Vanguard owns about 7.2 million shares. That's always good to see. We can see Pure Vita has a share position and a call position, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were hedging with some puts as well somewhere on this list. Now, we also see Raymond James with a position. Renaissance Technologies also has a position size of over a million shares, and that is big news. If you guys don't know who Renaissance Technologies is, they are the most successful hedge fund in all of history. They had a medallion fund when they really started out the algorithmic trading that we are seeing today, and their software and everything was able to generate them. I think the number was 70% returns. I know that sounds insane, but the number of the percent return that they were able to get year over year was absolutely ridiculous with their algorithms. If you're interested in learning more about Renaissance and their algorithmic trading, you should definitely go check them out. Now, before we get into some of my price predictions for Senseonics in the short term and the long term, let's come over and do a brief overview of Senseonics earnings report. So Senseonics reports their fourth quarter and full year 2020 financial results. So if we come down a little bit further, recent highlights and accomplishments: generated fourth quarter 2020 revenue of $3.9 million, driven primarily by orders to support European installed base up to the Essentia Diabetes Care commercial transition, raised $175 million of proceeds from equity offerings in the first quarter of 2021 to strengthen the balance sheet. Essentia Diabetes Care initiated eversense sales and marketing activities in Europe in select markets on February 1st, 2021. That is big news. We've seen a different company was actually in charge of the distribution prior to 2021. So Essentia taking over is going to most likely boost the amount of sales that Senseonics is able to create, which in turn will increase their revenue long term. So the CEO made some comments. We are very pleased with our fourth quarter results, our commercial collaboration agreement with Essentia, and the success of our recent financings. These steps conclude a strategically transformational year for Senseonics, said Tim Goodnow, PhD, President and CEO of Senseonics. We believe Essentia's commercial experience and global footprint will help grow the market for eversense in 2021 and beyond. We are working with Essentia to further expand commercial activity in the coming months. Now, throughout 2020, Senseonics had a little bit of a problem getting their continuous glucose monitoring systems actually into patients, since their medical procedure to actually implant the glucose monitors into patients was not seen as a necessary medical procedure. So a lot of these procedures were delayed. So coming down to the actual results, we can see total revenue for the fourth quarter was $3.9 million compared to $9 million for the fourth quarter of 2019, and that disparity is brought on by the pandemic. So the US revenue was $0.4 million and revenue outside the US was $3.5 million. Fourth quarter 2020 gross profit increased by $10.9 million year over year to $2.6 million. The positive gross margin in the quarter was primarily due to the inability to fill resupply orders with existing written off inventory, as existing patient reinsertion rates were above expectations established in the first quarter 2020 amid the onset of the pandemic. That is actually very bullish in my opinion. They were overwhelmed with the resupply orders. So I know a lot of you probably have already seen this. So basically all you really need to know is that they are improving their business, and the market took this earnings report very positively. We saw in the after hours trading period that Senseonics was trading in the green, but then sold off a little bit during the trading day since the overall market was selling off again. Now there were some pretty interesting interpretations. We can see that in the 10K filing, the management says that based on its current operating plans, the company has adequate cash and equivalents to fund the operational needs until 2022. That is a very good sign. When the company has enough cash on their balance sheet to kind of last themselves for an extended period of time, that is a very good sign. They are going to be able to do a lot of new business, and we are also waiting on the FDA approval for the 180-day eversense in the United States. And the company is also working on a 365-day implantable continuous glucose monitoring eversense. And I think we could see that more updates on that come out in the beginning of 2022. So Senseonics, in my opinion, is a very long-term play. So let's get into some of my price predictions for Senseonics in the next couple of months, the year 2021 and beyond. So coming over to the chart, we can see that Senseonics has sold off, as I've said before, and we are seeing a little bit of a bounce off of these lows of $1.90. So over this weekend, it looks like we got our stimulus. So depending on how the market takes that, a lot of why the market was selling off was due to inflation fears and the rising 10-year treasury yields. And a lot of these inflation fears had to do with the Fed and the government pumping so much money into the economy. Now, it looks like that is going to happen again. And the reaction to all of these different stimulus checks and the stimulus bills coming out is usually been bullish, but big money might take this a little bit differently this time, since we are starting to see the effects in the economy of pumping this much money into the market. So I'm thinking that if we do see some bullishness throughout this next week, I think by the end of Q2 2021, we are going to see Senseonics back up to their highs. Now, at the end of Q2 2021, we could see by then the 180-day FDA approval in the United States, which again would send, in my opinion, Senseonics going higher. Now, it's always a possibility that we do see a sell the news event, but typically FDA approvals are very bullish for companies like Senseonics. Now, if everything goes well for Senseonics, they continue to grow their revenue, their business in Europe, and they sell the 180-day models in the United States, I think that we could see a $10 price point on Senseonics by the end of 2021. Now, I know this is a bit aggressive, but this stock has shown us that it can rip up a very extreme amount in a short period of time if it gets the right news. We are also going to see Senseonics, in my opinion, talk at a bunch of other conferences over the next couple of months. Now, when you compare that with the FDA approvals, and if they can grow their revenue by actually getting this product into patients, and the production of the 365-day eversense, I don't think that $10 is that crazy. By the end of 2021, that time frame is a bit aggressive, but even by the end of 2022, Senseonics will be in the $10 range, in my opinion. So that is going to be it for this update on Senseonics, ticker symbol SENS. If you guys enjoyed the information I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video.